Alright, 422 is similar to 421, except instead of looking at heart rate now, we're going to look at blood pressure, which is a slightly different thing. Heart rate was just the amount of times your heart beat in a minute. Blood pressure is actually the pressure of that blood flow going through the arteries. So it's not only so heart rate is more of how fast the heart is working. This one is more how hard the heart is working. So with the keywords here, you're going to have to know systolic and diastolic pressure. That's in the reading, so you want to make sure you define those first. So systolic, so blood pressure is always given in two numbers. Um, they'll give you a systolic number, and then they'll give you a diastolic number. The systolic number is the top one, and this is the pressure generated by the left ventricle. So this is when it is pumping, when the heart is pumping. All right, where the diastolic is the bottom number, and this is when it's at rest. So this is in between contractions, how much pressure is still flowing through your arteries. All right, and then you're going to look at hypertension. So hypertension is high blood pressure. And all this is measured by a sphygmomanometer, which is just a blood pressure cuff. That's the big fancy term for it. All right, so just quick, basically went over this, but so this is another good measure of health, just like heart rate. And too high means the heart is working too hard to get the blood around, and if blood pressure dips too low, you can actually get dizzy and woozy because the blood isn't flowing fast enough or hard enough around the body to deliver the oxygen. And the average resting blood pressure is about 120. 120 might even be a little bit high. That's probably about 110 over 70. And then when you get above that, that's when you get into high blood pressure and have to start looking at medications and other things to alleviate that, because eventually your heart will get overworked and you'll have a heart attack. So now with this one, so you're going to do the same thing. You're going to measure your blood pressure manually and with probes, and then you're going to determine the factors that affect pressure. So you're going to develop an experiment that analyze a factor that affects not heart rate, this should say, blood pressure, but you're going to use the same factor that you use in heart rate to do blood pressure. And then the other difference is you're going to do the experimental design like you did in heart rate, but then you're going to write up a formal lab report from that. So you need to talk to me, and we'll go over how to do a formal lab report.